Hey guys, Julian here, and today I'm super excited to be showing you the much requested how to make music like stimming. So, as usual, you get the project file and samples and MIDI and presets and all that kind of stuff from this video in the description. And if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there because it'll be available there shortly. And yeah, let's get started. So this little bit in the intro, we're at 120 BPM, and this is the first sound we have here. It's this little like chord riff thing, which sounds like this. So basically, the way this is made is by inverting a bunch of chords. Like, you can see what's happening here is we have like this first chord, we have an A minor, and then it goes to like this F, or excuse me, this C major kind of thing. And yeah, it's just kind of like playing around with the different inversions. Like, for example, here we have the third an octave up. That, this chord, I believe, yeah, you can see like that is taking the fifth, I believe, of A. Yeah, because we have E, and then putting it down 2 octaves. Like, it's just playing around with a bunch of different kind of like weird inversions and stuff with these chords. But yeah, and you can see the other thing is it's kind of like how you play with the rhythm. Like, you can see, like, if we listen to this, like, I'm kind of treating these chords almost like melody notes. That's the way I like to think of it. Like, I'll usually start with like something like this, like just that really simple A minor, and then I think I added in those, like, you know, just that, and then like we start to add in these, and there you go. So it's just kind of a matter of like knowing how to play with the rhythms. And then for the sound on this one, I made it using analog. What we have here is just 2 sound waves. You can see I have the second one an octave up, or the first one an octave up, and then the second one is detuned a little bit. Helps to give it kind of a cooler sound. Then we have those going into this low pass filter. The filter is set like this. I got a bit of resonance. We got the frequency there, and I've got an envelope on there, so yeah. After that, I just have a bit of vibrato to kind of give it more sort of character. You know, something with stimming sounds, I think he does a very good job of taking like kind of synth sounds like this and making them not just sound like boring, dull synth sounds, and making them kind of have more life. And so having like a vibrato and a bit of unison is a really good way to do that. And also the unison is here kind of beefing it up and making it a bit fatter. That's also kind of with the oscillators, like having them at 2 different octaves. Like, if you think about this track is pretty sparse. Like, if I turn this chord off. So yeah, so it kind of helps to have this be like so big and kind of like wide like that with the unison and with how I set the oscillators. After that, we just have a bit of chorus. You can see I've got it set there, pretty standard stuff. I've also got this 16th note echo. You can hear that on the tail there. Then we have this drum bus, which is just kind of helping to fatten it up. Here's without it. And then with it, you can hear it makes it sound a lot stronger and a lot bigger. Then we just have a compressor side chaining it to the kick and an EQ8 cutting out the low end. And that is it for that first chord riff. So the next thing we have here is this little chord stab, which sounds like this. So what this is it's just playing these 2 chords. You can see we have an A minor, and then, yeah, this is also an A. Yeah, this is also like kind of a weird inversion of A. So, you know, just kind of jumping around. Same thing as with that other one, like just very rhythmic, very much playing around with the rhythm and treating the chords kind of like melody notes. And yeah, and then for the sound on this one, I made this using operators. So what this is it's kind of like this FM sound, which you can hear is very harmonically rich. And then I've got the filter on here, kind of making it more of a pluck. So what we have here is we have 3 sine waves. You can see I've got them all kind of set differently. I've got the coarse pitch on the last one up to 11. And then I have the second one detuned a little bit. I really like detuning these. You can hear it adds like so much texture to it. And it can really help get it away from just like the dull kind of flat synth sound that you can get if you just like, you know, start turning up these levels and don't touch anything else. After that, like I said, I've got those going into a low pass filter with a bit of an envelope on it. So again, that's what's giving it the pluck. Doesn't sound very good when you play the chords without that. And that is it for inside of operator. After that, we just have a bit of chorus. You can see I've got it set like this, just kind of making it a bit bigger and a bit wider. Then we have this echo. I have this unsynced. It's on the time. to get that cool kind of like metallic, really fast delay there. After that, we should have a bit of drum bus to kind of beef it up, and then an EQ8 cutting out the lawn, and that is it for the second chord stab. So then the last little like synth kind of thing that we have here, I guess you could call it, is the string sample, which sounds like this. So what this is doing is it's actually doing the opposite of that last chord stab, because the last one went to from the A minor down to this chord. This one goes up from this. Like it starts on the A minor and then goes up an octave to this. And yeah, you can hear, this is just a nice one to kind of like end it at the end of every 2 bars. Like you have the really, bouncy rhythmic one. And then you just get like a doo-da there at the end of every 2 bars. So for the sound on this one, I made this one actually using a string sample. What this is, I'll show you, is it's a sample of a pizzicato string. If you don't know what pizzicato means, it's just an articulation of like a string. Like if you have like a cello or a violin or a viola or anything like that, it's very quick and plucky. As you can hear, it's not like staccato where it's more like kind of sharp, or like a legato string sample, which would just be like a long note. It's very quick and plucky, so it's good for kind of like some quick rhythmic chords like this. So I just put this into a simpler, and that's really it. It's pretty simple, but it's nice. I hear Stimming using sounds like this. It's a nice way to contrast like the super, super synthy sounds. Like it's kind of like we have the first time it goes to these little chord stabs, it's like a super digital sounding FM sound, and then when it goes to the second one, we have a more organic kind of like string stab. So yeah, and then after that, I just have a bit of echo. You can see it's just doing 8 notes. Pretty simple stuff there. Then we just have a bit of drum bus, kind of beefing it up. You can see I've got this one up pretty high with the crunch. It really helps to fatten these up. Without it, and with it, you can hear a big difference. Like it just really is helping to add a lot of strength to the sound. And then after that, we just have a compressor side chaining into the kick, and that is it for the string sample. So the next thing that we have here is the kick, which sounds like this. And so this is pretty simple. With this style, it's more about like the type of kick you use. Like we just have this really kind of like soft, still very punchy, but softer, kind of more round sounding kick. So yeah, and then after that, I just have a few effects. The first thing here is just this drum bus. So here's without this. And then with it, you can hear it's just kind of beefing the kick up a bit, making it a bit stronger. This kick, actually, before I added this, was punching through the mix pretty well. But I felt like this just kind of gives it a bit more power and kind of puts it up on the level with other tracks in this style. After that, I just have an EQ8. And with this, I'm just making a few cuts. The first cut here is just around like 245 hertz. It's just to kind of get rid of those like boxy frequencies. Like if I turn the gain up, you can hear what I mean. It just helps to get rid of some of those muddy, boxy kind of frequencies. And then we have this one, and what this is doing is it's actually getting rid of, sometimes like when you have a kick sample, it can have like little like weird high pitch things in it. So I'm just cutting that out with there. I just found the frequency that it's at and then just cut it. Really simple. And yeah, that's it for the kick. Like I said, it's not too crazy. It's just a matter of getting kind of like a warm round kick like this. So the next thing that we have here is the clap, which sounds like this. So what this is it's 2 layers. We have like a regular clap, and then we have this rimshot underneath it, which is kind of giving it more like punch and more of like an attack. Like the thing is, the clap is good on its own, but you can hear when I add that rimshot in, it just really completes it. And then I have those two in a group together as well. So I have all the percussion in a percussion bus here, but then I've also grouped the clap and rimshot together just to kind of make them, a bit more together. Like you can hear, this processing really helps to make them kind of more into one thing. If I turn it off, they just don't really gel as well. And also, like, it just doesn't have as much power. It's like with the kick, it's like, it kind of works without this stuff, but this stuff really, really helps to take it over the edge and make it more professional. So, yeah, the first thing I have here is a saturator. Here's without it. And then with it. So you can hear that's just kind of gelling them together. I feel like it's helping to kind of even out the volume levels a little bit more as well. And yeah, I just have to drive up a little bit on that, and then I just have the bass frequency up a little bit. And that's it for the saturator. after that, we just have this EQ8. And with this, I'm just cutting out the lawn. Pretty simple stuff, but it cleans them up a bit because sometimes the saturator can enhance like bass frequencies that you may not have heard in there, and they'll come out. So yeah, that's just cleaning it up. And yeah, that's it for the clap. The next thing that we have here is this first hi-hat, which sounds like this. So it's really simple. It's just a hi-hat. And I've just got it in here. It's playing on the upbeats, and then I have a little bit of reverb on it, just to kind of bring it to life. You can hear what that's doing there. So yeah, really simple. Just kind of like a smaller, more like minimal style hi-hat like this. Like with this style, you know, you really want these more like minimal house type drums. Like just really tight, kind of like clean samples that work really well. So yeah, after that we have this drum rack, which sounds like this. So basically what's happening here is we have a bunch of percussion, and I've just put it into this drum rack. Yeah, so what we have here is we have like these two shakers. Very minimal house style sounds, which you can hear are playing off of each other. And then we have some percussion. We have like this bass percussion here. And then we have this one, which is just like an extra one that plays there. You know, every now and then. And yeah, so this is a good technique if you have a lot of percussion. Like, it makes it easier because when you use a drum rack, like, I don't like using a drum rack for all my drums. Like, I wouldn't want to put, you know, the kick and the claps and all the hi-hats into here. But when you have a lot of percussion, which is going to be kind of in the same range volume-wise as well as, like, sonically, it can make sense to put it into a drum rack because you can see it makes it so easy to make these, like, really seamless percussion loops. Like, if I had these all on their own, I feel like it would be a little bit more difficult to really make it sound so, like, cohesive and, you know, make everything play off of each other. So yeah, by having everything in this drum rack, again, it's kind of just like making your own percussion loops. And another thing to note here is this bass percussion is actually the only bass that we have in this track. It's a very sparse kind of track. Like, with this style, you know, you don't want to have like a huge bass line underneath these chords. The chords are already doing so much that you can hear when that little bass stab comes in from the percussion. It's enough. You know, between that and the bass from the kick, it's a pretty solid line in this track. But yeah, that's it for that drum rack. The next thing that we have here is the second percussion, which sounds like this. So this is just an extra percussion that comes in there, like on every first little upbeat there. Yeah, you can hear it's just adding a little bit of extra kind of cool percussiveness to the overall beat. So then I have all this percussion in a group as well, and then it's being processed. So the reason why we do this is just to kind of help it all gel together more. You know, it's like with the clap and the snare. Without that processing, it does work, but it definitely sounds a lot better when you kind of put everything together and process it as one. At least, you know, for similar sounds like this, like all the percussion. So the first thing that I have on here is this drum bus. Here's without it. And then with it. So you can hear, this is adding just like a lot of kind of texture and crunch to everything. And it's also helping to kind of bring it all up to even levels. I feel like this is the thing that takes all these individual sounds from just sounding like, you know, individual sounds basically to kind of sounding like a more cohesive together thing. You know, when you put saturation like this on everything at the same time, it's going to make it all gel together a lot better because it is putting the same kind of texture on everything. So yeah, after that we just have CQ8, and with this I'm actually just giving it a little bit of a higher boost. Just to make everything a little bit like brighter sounding. And yeah, that's it for the percussion. So then the last thing we have here is this vinyl noise, which sounds like this. And this is really simple. It's just some vinyl noise playing in the background. It gives everything a bit more texture. And it adds a lot of atmosphere to the track. And yeah, so with that, that is pretty much it for this one. That's all that I have here in front of me to show you. So, thank you so much, everybody. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of the video in the comments. Let me know who you want to see me do a video about next. As always, you can get the project file and samples and MIDI and presets all that kind of stuff from this video in the description. So make sure to check for that. And if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there because they will be available shortly. Thank you so much, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.